It's a problem with strongman entirely. This pro card thing has just gotten entirely out of hand. Matter of fact, it's a joke. It's just a stupid joke now. If you really want to have pro cards out there, I don't think there's any right way to do it anymore, guys. Our sport is so fractured with these organizations. And I'm not suggesting any one of them are any better or any worse than, the 3 or 4 that are out there. But, we have the Strongman Corp, of course, and we have USS. And Strongman Corp has got their, well, I think, Arnold, you get a pro card there for the amateurs, and you get a pro card. Just to be clear, because if this is ever changing again, this is a moving target maybe. I know your top 3 places at Nationals get their pro card in all classes. I'm not sure whether or not they still have the pro-ams or the pro-ams that used to get you your pro card, meaning if you were the top amateur to finish amongst the pros, you would get your pro card. That's the way they used to do it. So there was these pro-am shows. If you had 5 pros and 5 amateurs, mind you, you were a qualified amateur to be there. To be able to compete with these guys at the weight they were using, if you managed to finish as the top amateur, you would get your pro card. You didn't have to finish first. You just had to finish as the top amateur. So there was a few different ways to get it through Strongman Corp. Now USS has kind of come up with something a little bit. I still don't quite understand it. I mean, I even talked to, my people that I know within the organization or that know of the organization, promoters and such. Even it's a bit of a head scratcher on their part. They apparently have a pro qualifying shows, which means like Great Lakes, for instance, you would have a pro class. They call it a USS Pro show, or it's kind of a bit misleading, to be honest with you. And then the winner of that show qualifies for the qualifier. So if top 3 guys maybe, or just the winner, I'm not sure, qualify to go to the pro qualifier for USS, which is considered a pro show, but nobody's pro there. At least that's the way it's advertised. And then the winner of that show wins a pro contract. So my question is are you a pro when you get there? Are you not a pro when you get there? Is it only the winner that's a pro? Who gives a fuck, right? It doesn't make any sense. Now, I get that Willie's going to pay these people. I have no clue what he's paying. We pay him $1. I don't know. Nobody seems to be talking much about it, so I don't know how awesome these contracts are. And it's no knock on you, Willie, or the organization. But once again, these are things that need to be understood, that need to be said to people, that people have to understand exactly what the program is, that nobody understands the program. So there you go with that. The other organization, of course, is the PSL. Now, to be clear about the PSL, Tyler's probably the one organization that says, no, we don't give a fuck about pro cards, because nobody's going to try to solve that riddle. That's an enigma of strongman. The PSL is simply saying we're a pro strongman league, meaning that we're represent at a professional level for everybody to compete at. So let me say that again. Pro Strongman League means exactly that. It's a professional organization that provides a platform for all athletes to qualify to get to compete at. Tyler's not giving away pro cards. However, we can all argue prior to the PSL and go back to Clash, every one of those guys that made the finals should be a fucking pro. Matter of fact, everybody that qualified for that show should be a pro. I mean, I forget who's a pro and who's not a pro anymore when these guys compete together, but every guy that I've talked to would look at their guy next to him on the right or the left and go, yeah, I don't know if he's a pro or not, but does it fucking matter? He's competing next to me, and I got to worry about beating him. So he should be a pro by default. So I just wish, I guess what I'm trying to say is, well, let me finish. Then you got the World Strength Games. World Strength Games then is an organization now giving out their own pro card. For what? Only to compete in the World Strength Games and Ragnarok Games? And no knock on you, Ralph. I get it. You're trying to offer some things to, add a little buzz to your organization, add a little buzz to your promotion. I can respect that. But I still don't understand how we're just sort of nilly-willy giving away, and that's no knock on you, Willie. I'm just saying nilly-willy to give away pro cards to everybody. Like, fuck, they're so common now. Let's just open a Cracker Jacks box and just see if you want a pro card. Who gives a shit? You don't even have to be qualified to win a pro card anymore. If you just enter a contest and nobody else enters the fucking show with you and you win by default, guess what? You're a pro. You got a 300 max log and you got a 600-pound deadlift. You're an open guy and you're a pro all of a sudden. Please, come on, guys. We all know this is kind of getting silly at this point. I have no idea how to solve this problem other than the fact that let's just remove it entirely. There doesn't need to be any pro status attached to anybody anymore. And I don't even think the pros that I know out there, the official qualified pros that is, and to no knock on any of you guys, no knock on you at all, would care whether or not people recognize them as a pro strongman. Because most of us, and I say most of us, not me, but most of anybody out there that's competing at that high level in any one of these weight classes doesn't introduce themselves as pro so-and-so, or in any case, most of them don't, maybe on their IGs or something, whatever. I have no problem with that. But we don't recognize them, and they don't recognize themselves like that. These guys are just great strongman athletes that go into contests and win, or on any given Sunday at the best contest have an opportunity to beat some people, maybe not everybody, because that's how tight the competition pool is within our sport right now. I think the only guys that we can all argue resonate with us as pro strongmen and pro strong woman maybe now, right? Because of what the Arnold Classic did to the pros there, is if you make it to that stage, you're a pro. You're a pro, and I don't think anybody will take that away from you. But even those people, again, it's not what they're after. That's not the kind of, that title isn't important to them. It's actually just being able to, complete the contest or win the event, or get better at doing an event. I don't know this whole pro strongman thing, how it really fits into our sport anymore. And if you're only going to identify the heavyweights as pros, which we do, and rightfully so, they're the best in the world, then where's everybody else left to kind of, and I don't think anybody really cares, but if you want if you want a sport, and some purists out there like my friend Darren from Strongest Opinions would say, fuck, we don't need any other class. Let's just use the heavyweight guys and the heavyweight women as the example out there. Other than them, I don't understand where it all fits in anymore. So the big enigma in strongman is pro anymore. The pro status to me just needs to be removed. Let's all quit using it. World Strength Games, fuck all that. Willie, the USS Pro stuff, it's too far out to even make work. Dion, I get it. All right. I'm essentially reaching out to all you collectively at one time saying, can we just all agree to stop doing this? It doesn't make any sense anymore. It just doesn't. And you want to know the true definition of a pro. If you've won any money at any point in competition, you're considered a pro. That's the legal, that's the somewhat the legal definition of becoming a pro in anything. It means you're a paid athlete. And that means if you were an MMA fighter fighting, and I know this because I used to promote MMA, and you were an amateur and the promoter wanted to pay you $200 as the winner, and you accepted that prize money, you're officially a pro. You're not even supposed to compete with the amateurs anymore. So that's the disparity in our sport. We could be pros and still compete with amateurs to some degree if we wanted to, and in reality, that's not the way it's supposed to be done. So I think that's why a lot of guys really don't care whether or not they get their pro card, because they don't ever want to have the inability to be able to compete at any level they want to and represent their communities at large. So again, another reason why pro isn't really an important title anymore. It makes no sense. And I used to be one of those guys that would go, oh boy, we have to really figure this out. We need to figure this out because it's important that, people understand, and consumerships want to know, what does it mean to go through the ranks of strongman to get status? I'm not so sure that matters anymore. Matter of fact, that's the second thing on this show today that I'm going to take back. I've thought through this over and over again, had many conversations with my friends in the sport and around the sport, that none of them really give a fuck. You're just going out there to compete to win. Today you might be a pro, tomorrow you might be an amateur at best. Your competition dictates to you how hard you train and where you're going to be, ultimately in your competitions, and whether you're winning or losing. Just because you're a pro don't mean shit in strongman. It certainly does in other sports. You can't take a professional pace pitcher and send him down to the minor leagues and not expect he's going to strike out the side in the ninth every time. Most of these guys will, because they're that much better than everybody else. But there's little disparity in our sport anymore. Look at the U90 Classic over in England, for instance, as I talk about on every show, and I should, because it's a badass show. There's 30 guys there. I wonder how many pros are in that show. Nobody cares, because they're all fucking that good. There's quite a few of them that have a pro status by default, but I'm pretty sure none of the European guys have an official pro status to their name, because I don't think that's how they operate over there. And we could be looking at the top 5 guys being all European, beating all of our pros. So does that mean they're pros because they beat pros? That's what I'm getting here, guys. We just have to knock this pro shit off in strongman. If you're getting paid to do your job and you're out there winning, I don't give a fuck if you're a pro or not. Obviously, you're going to earn the respect from me, and you're going to earn the respect from all of our peers, and you're going to earn the respect from the fan base out there. So let's stop with this pro shit once and for all.